CSGO? More like CS no. Have you ever wanted to stop a terrorism? Have you also wanted to stop said terrorism with a cosmetic gun worth over $1,000 of your real life money? Well, do I have the game for you? CSGO is pretty much Valve's flagship title these days and encompasses some tactical counter-terrorism warfare. And by tactical I mean buy the shooty bang bang stick that kills in one hit and you win. Or you can buy one of these, but you're not that unloved, are you? The game's classic mode pits 5 terrorists against 5 counter-terrorists, and the terrorist goal is to either plant the bomb or stop the counter-terrorists from rescuing the hostages, and the counter-terrorist goal is to piss on their illegal parade. The game also has a number of other game modes to augment the competitive game mode, and none of these are really any fun except maybe Arms Race. That one makes me very angry. Obviously that's not the only thing that makes me angry about this game, however. Other than the gameplay and the shit for brains community, there's a few particular issues with CSGO that earn the game its place in the shitbag showcase. This game is fucking rage inducing. I don't think I've ever played this game and not verbally expressed myself in an inappropriate manner multiple times throughout. The gunplay in this game is very precise but also seemingly very fucking random. Obviously, just like in real life, you can shoot a man in the torso 28 times and he will be fine. Headshots are the only viable way to kill people in CSGO. Obviously, unless you're using the aforementioned shooty bang bang stick or the my family doesn't love me stick. A lot of the time you'll think you have someone perfectly lined up and hit him once for 5 damage while he whips his mouse around and one taps you in the head before you can say fuck this fucking piece of shit game. You'll often also, however, be on the opposite end of that scenario though. Some asshole is hiding around the corner and sprays and misses you, only for you to turn into John Wick and just disrespect his casual ass. There's also a little bit of a lack of viable weapons because in reality it's like 3, particularly if you're playing on terrorist, because then it's pretty much only the one. Out of all the available game modes, only one of them is even worth playing, and only like 2 of the maps are even worth playing too, so there's often a lack of versatility in what you get when you play this game. Even on game modes like Arms Race or Demolition, there's only a couple of maps that will get voted for, and you'll often be playing the same 2 or 3 maps. Who the fuck votes for St. Mark? Fucking nobody, that's who. The lack of weapons that are actually useful and the fact that only like 2 maps are ever in competitive rotation means that the gameplay isn't super varied, and you're stuck doing pretty much the same thing over and over again. Often the winner of a competitive match is whichever team gets enough money to buy a shooty bang bang stick first, and from there on in it's usually a slow grind until the team with the most shooty bang bang sticks wins. People often try to pass off the gameplay as tactical, and I guess it is in the same sense that League of Legends is a good game, and that is that it's not really. Basically just a last man standing deathmatch with a bomb that you can plant to force the other team to push your position. Just because you get to press the buttons on the explodey device or choose which way you want to go, doesn't really make it a tactical shooter. That word is thrown around a little too easily. You could argue that any game that requires any sort of cognitive thought process is tactical. CSGO is no different, but it's not a fucking strategy game, it's action, pure and simple. It's no more noggin jogging than many of the other run-of-the-mill shooters for the most part. There are some nice mechanics like shift walking to reduce noise and whatever though, which add another nice competitive edge to the game. I'd go into more detail about the other game modes, but they're really not worth talking about. Casual is just about the same thing as competitive, but with more people and you can spectate both teams, but is also absolutely rampant with hackers and degenerates. Arms Race is pretty fun, you score kills and progress through all the weapons until you get a kill with the last weapon being your knife. You can also steal a weapon level off someone else by knifing him, but that's just fucking disrespectful. Deathmatch is exactly what it sounds like, and Demolition and that new Flying Scoutsman mode are too irrelevant to even bother talking about. The most objectionable part of this game is the unboxing and weapon skins that Valve has so graciously forced upon this game. This is not okay, Valve. This is not fucking okay. We saw it first in TF2 and Valve saw how much money they were pulling out of it, and so the only obvious move was to put it in their much more widely active title, CSGO. I will not defend Valve's attitudes toward loot boxes and optional cosmetics, because Valve are little more than a money machine these days, and they were obviously not content enough with all the commission they were making off Steam already, and needed to suck even more money out of their consumers. I stand by the fact that this kind of loot box system, even if just cosmetic, is still gambling and is still designed specifically to take your money. As much as people would like to not believe that. People spend money on this and they pretty much always will. If they didn't, why would so many developers be including it in their games? These loot boxes are arguably worse than the ones you would get in a game like Overwatch because they require a key to open, which will cost you around $2.50 a pop. However, Valve does not so graciously hand loot boxes out for free and say, "Here kid, just give it one try" to get you hooked like titles like Overwatch do. So so I find it's a little easier to stay out of the whole unboxing scene in this game. That being said, I feel that the general opinion towards weapon skins and the ideals of the community itself are part of what pushed many people to invest money into opening crates in this game. The community in this game is less than ideal. You're less likely to pay with actual degenerates if you're playing competitive, and to its credit, the competitive community is probably better than the casual community, which is pretty much never the case in any game. The competitive scene is, however, plagued by smurfs, which ruins a lot of the fun, particularly for people who are shit at the game. Like me. Hackers aren't so much of a problem, and they're pretty rare to come across in competitive, but as mentioned earlier, I can't remember a casual server in the last couple of years that hasn't had less than like 5 people hacking at once. Casual is an absolute shitfest in this game. Also mentioned before, the way skins are idolized and treated in the community is part of what makes the loot boxes and cosmetics such a prevalent issue in my opinion. But this was obviously Valve's end goal from the beginning. You will 100% come across some assholes mic spamming or playing music or just people who are not pleasant to deal with in this game, but that's something of a modern dilemma for pretty much any multiplayer shooter. For a game that came out over 5 years ago now, the visuals hold together pretty well. It's a little different to Valve's usual style that we've seen throughout their other titles, but doesn't fall in the uncanny valley and still looks pretty good alongside other current gen titles. The theme music at the start of the game is unnecessarily loud, and I've had it muted pretty much since I bought the game. The track's also pretty garbage. The game also, like other Valve titles, has plenty of quick chat voice commands, but these aren't really worth using and you should just use your voice chat to communicate with your team. Or just fuck off. In the end, CSGO is just a pretty bland and typical, in quotes, tactical shooter, rife with scumbag cosmetics and a pretty bad community to fit. The game is worth the $15 you pay for it and not much else. It's getting on pretty alright and I imagine this game will continue on being relevant for quite some time now. There is something else wrong with CSGO, however. An exclusion choice that is downright embarrassing on Valve's part. There aren't any whoopers in it. This has to be some kind of fucking joke. The game has been out for so long, they've implemented all these cosmetics and shit and not even one single fucking whooper. Are you fucking kidding me? No whooper skins? No whooper stickers? Not even a fucking whooper spray? Get absolutely fucked, Valve. Gabe Newell, this is for you directly. Give me Portal 3, stop overcharging Australians for pretty much everything on Steam, and put whoopers in your games right the fuck now. Less microtransactions, less broken promises, more whoopers. Make it happen.